going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode, another live stream of the Rapid Review. Um, Interesting week. Like I said, time and time again. Ignore the news, ignore the headlines. We got all-time highs. Lost a ton of distribution days this week. So this is just another prime example of what truly matters when looking at the overall market. So let's dive into what went on this week and get everybody ready to trade for next week. All right, so let's get started looking at the market direction. Still an uptrend. Power trend is still up and healthy. Distribution days, like we mentioned before, definitely had a big drop off in distribution days. So we have 5 on the S&P, only one on the Nasdaq. And if we take a look at the distribution day tracker, you can see we're pretty primed up right now, where the one distribution day that we have on the Nasdaq has a very high likelihood, if we can have even a strong single day or a strong week, that we can chip and get away at this one day. And if we do have another strong week, there's even a possibility that we could lose some distribution on the S&P. But in terms of what we lost, the Nasdaq lost the May 21st, May 29th, and the June 5th distribution day. The S&P lost 2, which was the May 20th and May 29th distribution day. So a total of 5 distribution days that were lost. One of those was due to time. We had 25 trading days since that distribution day. The other 4 were all due to price action. After this big, strong, powerful week, we washed out a lot of those days. So all really, really positive action. And we'll see what happens with the rest of the week in terms of distribution. Green, completely green on everything this week. So big up weeks, as you can see. S&P up 3.44%, Nasdaq up 4.25%. Excuse me, and the Dow up 3.82%. So big up weeks, which leads us to this year being up 4.96 on the Nasdaq, on the S&P. Nasdaq almost up 5%, 4.99%. Dow up an even 3%. So it's been a while since we've seen all of this in the green, because even the Dow is kind of struggling, lagging behind. But as you can see, completely green now, positive action. And looking at the moving averages, so almost green on everything. Russell still sitting below the 200, just barely. But overall, everything looking really, really good on the moving averages. And we look at the indexes, we'll see we are actually very close to finally getting that 200 and 200-day moving average to be underneath the 50-day moving average, leaving us in that order 10, 21, 50, 200, which at that point is just proving to us that we've been in a nice not longer term, but sustained uptrend. All right, so let's jump over and take a look at the indexes. So as we always do, we'll start off on the Nasdaq on the daily. Look, we started off this week, right? We had talked about last week the 21-day being extremely important. How we interacted with that was going to tell us a lot about where we're at with this market. Were we going to break down below it and possibly roll over, showing that maybe we're due for a little bit of a correction, possibly even just this whole entire uptrend falling apart? Were we going to maybe undercut it, bounce around, and pop back up? Or were we just going to completely touch it and then rocket off of it? And for us, everybody looking to trade long, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that bounce off the 21 and then rocket off of it and follow up after that with multiple days after that, pulling away from that 21. And that's exactly what we got. You could see Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday just completely pulled into it, bounced, and then followed through the rest of the week. So super positive action. But the other really positive thing is that we got to this all-time high. We took out that December 16th high, giving us a all-time high on the Nasdaq. Very positive action. And like we said before, the 50 making its way to across above that 200, just proving again that we've been in a more sustained uptrend. One of the things that is very interesting, and this is something I wanted to kind of talk about for people when looking at the overall market trend and key price levels and how the market reacts, you can see that how we reacted on here based on this makes a lot of sense, right? So we had all this sideways action, market rolls over, was a steep, rapid decline, And then with that steep racket decline, we had a pretty quick V-shaped recovery through this kind of area. There wasn't a ton of areas of really resistance. It was just rapid decline, rapid rebound. But right as we got to this chop level, everything started to slow down. Everything started to tighten up. Started to get a little choppy, which is very expected here. And now we're breaking out to all-time highs. So with that being said, what I would ask somebody is ask yourself, if this was a stock and you saw this price action, how would you expect us to act right here? And most of us would say, with the lack of upside resistance that we should be experiencing here, we expect this to kind of continue and be a pretty powerful move upward. So no guarantee, but just something to think about. The higher probability being that we're going to continue past these all-time highs and in a nice strong uptrend. So good positive action. Weekly, we'll take a quick look there. Big positive thing here, seeing the above average volume on the week and closing in the 96% range of that week. So really positive to see that here. And again, you can kind of see what we were talking about, that kind of V-shaped recovery, tightening up around here, and then nice strong week. Really positive right here. Just looking at this, if you're looking at this as a stock, this would be really bullish. So keep that in mind. We'll look at the S&P, though, to be completely honest. There really isn't much else to say here. The big difference between the S&P and what's going on the NASDAQ is we just have more distribution days hanging on here. But other than that, everything else is looking super positive. And we'll take a quick look at the weekly here, closing in the high range there, above average volume. Really all positive action here. So let's jump over to Deepvue and take a look at what's going on with the industry groups. And for those of you who don't know, I am a Deepvue partner. This is the only tool that I use for all my stock screening, all my stock charting. Really love this tool. It is one of the more robust screening tools that I've ever used, but also not being so complicated that you need Pine scripting language or you need to like really mess around to build out screens. It's just done very good that you can get a robust screen, but also ease of use. A ton of different stuff that they're adding, like stuff like this, the industry groups, theme tracker, and many other like widgets and things they're adding. They're making my personal trading much easier. So if you are interested in checking it out, I have a link in the YouTube description. If you're on Twitter or X, just shoot me a message and I'll send you a link to check that out with a discount code. But yeah, really enjoying this and definitely making my weekend routine and my daily routine much more efficient. But with that being said, let's look at what we have with the theme trackers. Those innovative industries, the industries and the sectors that growth stock traders, swing position traders like to trade are really showing some strength. Blockchain, semiconductors, robotics, solar. I don't really consider, had a good week, but overall kind of not in a great uptrend. Technology, growth stocks, genomics, all really showing positive action here. And you can see even going into the month, that's kind of carrying over. Year to date, still have to see some of these groups kind of climb their way up. But for me, I'm more focused on what's happening right now in the last month, 2 months versus year to date. I want to see that trend starting to change, and it does seem like we are starting to see those growth stocks starting to outperform, which is super positive action. The other thing I wanted to bring up, little nod to Kathy Wood, is the ARK ETF. So what I've noticed is when this does really well, like back in 2020, growth stock traders, position traders, swing traders tend to have really like great environments for making easy money. And one of the things I'm seeing right here is we had this kind of cup breakout. We've had a really strong uptrend. Things are looking really positive for her and her fund. And normally when she's doing very well, it's a super easy environment for growth stock traders. So she definitely trades very different. As you can see, most of us are not having these crazy drawdowns in this bad time period. But again, when she tends to be doing really well, it tends to be a very good environment for us. So another little thing I wanted to kind of add on there. So With that being said, exposure levels, 100% invested. If you're in a lot of these leaders, yeah, I think that is where you want to be at this market. We're in all-time highs. Everything we talked about is super, super positive. So this is the type of market I want to be fully invested, and I want to be in the market leaders. So definitely work towards that. Don't chase it, but work towards that. This is a market where you want to be involved. For margin, look, everybody is different with margin, and you have to have your own plan. And I think many people use it very, very differently. So I try not to say too much in terms of margin because it is very dangerous. There is a lot of risk. You have to know what you're doing. And I think a lot of people use it when they shouldn't be using it. But I think if you have a plan, this is the type of market that tends to be good for using margin because we're in a strong, powerful uptrend. It tends to be the type of stocks that we like to trade. I always say that with a little kind of asterisk. Know what you're doing, have the experience, and at the same time, look, some of these even great top traders don't use margin. So it's not a requirement, but it is a tool that can be used if you use it properly. So keep that in mind. Final thoughts. My final thoughts for this week. Look, this has been a great year thus far. Despite us having a rough start, despite some of the early year chop, the market kind of turning over, this has been an excellent year for growth stock traders. And this is showing why it is so important to be in tune with the market and the environment that we're in. If you properly navigated the chop, properly navigated the downtrend, stepped in when the signals hit and we got the beginning of this rally, again, managed that kind of most recent month where things got a little choppy, things got a little tighter, and then capitalized on this bounce on the 21-day EMA on the indexes. You're doing very, very well. And this is why I do this every week, because I think it's very important to be very in tune with what the environment and the overall market is telling us and putting the environment that you are trading in the forefront of your mind so you know you're putting things in your favor. Now, with that being said, and this is something that I always try to remind myself, don't get overconfident. Don't look at yourself as some guru, some stock picking expert, that you're, the next Mark Minervini, and, confidence is important. But at the same time, you don't want to get overconfident because most of the time that's where those big, big mistakes are made. When people think they are, untouchable, is where a lot of the times you start doing things that are, for lack of a better term, stupid, and it ends up coming to bite you in the ass in the end. For those of you who maybe sat out this early uptrend, when the signals did come in, maybe you weren't in the right headspace, maybe you weren't doing the work, and you just didn't get in at the right time, might have gotten locked out of some of these big, big, strong leaders of this market. Just do not chase stocks. Do not try to play catch up. Do not buy things extended because it looks like the leader now and you're looking for just any reason to get into that stock. Reset, have clear watch lists, and just make sure mentally you are just not chasing, because I think that can be very, very damaging as well. And if you're somebody who's maybe just been out of tune, maybe making some poor decisions and you've gotten beat up and you're severely underperforming, sometimes it's very important to just take a reset. Do not go on tilt, and do not have yourself just sitting back, maybe afraid to make decisions and watch things go on without you, or the same way, be chasing things and cause yourself to make stupid decisions. So if you find yourself kind of not feeling dialed, don't be afraid to take some time away from the market, step back, clear your head, completely forget about the market. And then after a little bit of time, start to relook through your notes, start to do your routine, and get back into it. But I think that's something that a lot of people overlook. Sometimes time away from the market when you're not in the right headspace, extremely important. Other than that, look, end of the day, just keep doing the work, follow your plan, be extremely disciplined. And if the market continues to present great opportunities, be in the right space to capitalize on those opportunities. And other than that, we got a short week this week, Thursday. is a short market day. We close at 1 o'clock Eastern, and Friday, 4th of July, market will be closed. So shorter week, shorter trading week this week. But needless to say, you still make sure you're prepared for this short week and trade properly, have all your stops in, have all your buys planned out, and be ready to go. All right. Other than that, let's see. I'm working on some new content on YouTube, so I'll hopefully be sharing that stuff soon. Keep an eye out for that, especially people on X. Check out YouTube channel. It's just my name, The Path to Profit, or my account, Path to Profit, but on YouTube. Discord channel, which is always linked in my X channel, also linked in the YouTube video. We're almost at 1,000 people in there. Almost, very, very close. So milestone I hope to reach soon, but a lot of really great traders, a lot of people helping each other out. People from, just starting a couple weeks all the way up to people that have been doing this for decades. So other than that, yeah, appreciate everybody joining me. Hopefully you had a good weekend. Stay disciplined and happy trading.